Learning to accept suffering. There are three kinds of situation in which we need to learn to be patient. One, when we are experiencing suffering, hardship or disappointment. Two, when we are practicing Dharma. And three, when we are harmed or criticized by others. Correspondingly, there are three types of patience. One, the patience of voluntarily accepting suffering. Two, the patience of definitely thinking about Dharma. And three, the patience of not retaliating. These three types of patience do not come easily and may seem somewhat strange when we first read about them. However, once we understand them clearly and put them into practice sincerely and skillfully, they will liberate our mind from one of its most obsessive delusions and bring great peace and joy. It is therefore worthwhile to persevere in these practices, even if initially they may seem unusual or even unnatural. To practice the first patience, accepting willingly whatever suffering we cannot avoid, we should remember that whenever we find ourselves within samsara, only a few circumstances bring happiness, whereas the causes of misery abound. This is the very nature of samsara. Its sufferings are infinite, while its joys are limited. Moreover, all the suffering we encounter is the result of actions we ourselves have done in the past. If we do not experience this suffering, then who should? We should therefore learn to accept what is unavoidable rather than fight against it. If we learn to accept the unavoidable suffering, unhappy thoughts will never arise to disturb us. There are many difficult and unpleasant circumstances that we cannot avoid, but we can certainly avoid the unhappiness and anger these circumstances normally provoke in us. It is these habitual reactions to hardship, rather than the hardship itself, that disturb our day-to-day peace of mind, as well as our spiritual practice. When we learn to accept difficult circumstances patiently, the real problem disappears. For example, suppose our body is afflicted by a painful illness. If we have a way of accepting the pain, for instance by seeing it as a means of exhausting negative karma, our mind will remain at peace even though our body is in pain. Moreover, since physical pain is closely related to the tension and stress in our mind, as our mind relaxes, we may discover that the physical pain actually subsides and our body is able to heal itself. However, if we refuse to deal realistically with the discomfort, cursing our illness and letting ourselves become depressed, then not only shall we have to endure the additional suffering of mental torment, but very probably our physical pain will increase as well. We can see, therefore, that responding to hardship with non-acceptance and anger only makes matters worse. By destroying the merit or positive potential in our mind, anger makes it very difficult to fulfill our wishes, and by causing us to engage in negative actions, it sows the seeds for greater suffering in the future. In short, anger destroys our present peace and happiness, robs us of our future happiness, and ensures that we suffer in life after life. There are many benefits to be gained from patiently accepting suffering. Not only does it enable us to maintain a peaceful and positive mind in the face of distressing circumstances, but it also helps us to gain a clear and dispassionate view of the nature of our samsaric situation. There is a certain mental stability to be had merely from recognizing that every experience of pain or discomfort is the fault of our being caught up in samsara, of our being born, living and dying in a state of unknowing and confusion. Our real problem is not the physical sickness, difficult relationship or financial hardship that we might currently be experiencing, but our being trapped in samsara. This recognition is the basis for developing renunciation, the spontaneous wish to attain complete freedom from every trace of dissatisfaction, which in turn is the foundation of all the higher spiritual realizations, leading to the boundless happiness of liberation and enlightenment. But this recognition can only dawn within the clear and open mind of patient acceptance. For as long as we are in conflict with life's difficulties, thinking that things should be different from the way they are, and blaming circumstances or other people for our unhappiness, we shall never have the clarity or spaciousness of mind to see what it is that is really binding us. Patience allows us to see clearly the mental habit patterns that keep us locked in samsara, and thereby enables us to begin to undo them. Patience is therefore the foundation of the everlasting freedom and bliss of liberation. Normally, our need to escape from unpleasant feelings is so urgent that we do not give ourselves the time to discover where these feelings actually come from. Suppose that someone we have helped responds with ingratitude, or that our partner fails to return our affection, or that a colleague or boss continuously tries to belittle us and undermine our confidence. These things hurt, and our instinctive reaction is to try immediately to escape the painful feelings in our mind by becoming defensive, blaming the other person, retaliating, or simply hardening our heart. Unfortunately, by reacting so quickly, we do not give ourselves the time to see what is actually going on in our mind. In reality, the painful feelings that arise on such occasions are not intolerable. They are only feelings, a few moments of bad weather in the mind, with no power to cause us any lasting harm. There is no